And is this too far? Pan that way. Yep, a little less, right there.
Stop moving.
Sorry. My bad. Woo. Ready to go?
Okay.
Okay.
It's a good talk.
All right. Yeah. All right. Ready?
Ready.
Welcome to the Bada Bing.
The Bodacast.
Oh, Bodacast. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a traveling podcast that brings the professionals to you guys. And today we have Stephen Wheeler of Daufenbach Camera.
Hey,
Thanks for being here, Stephen.
thank you for having me. It was awesome.
It's time for the Bada Bing Podcast. Like and subscribe. And now, here are your hosts, Pat and Brian.
This is an important podcast because this is an important part of the business that people sometimes forget about. Is where the heck are we going to get our equipment? And they're a rental house.
Yeah.
So Stephen, tell us, how did you get started in this industry?
In rentals particularly, I just had found I'd fallen out of love with freelancing and being on set and the hours, and just I'm a guy who likes routine. So there was a spot I applied for a paid internship, back when the company first started, and pretty much been here ever since.
Wow. It's a long run.
It is. It's, the company's been around, be about 16 years this summer, and I've been here for 15 of those.
How does somebody get started? If they're a new customer, they've never been to a rental house, they're kind of afraid of it. For crazy reasons.
Yeah.
They're afraid because they think it's really expensive, or they just don't know what they need to do to get started in renting.
And I can understand, because it can be intimidating. Like, if you don't think your project's big enough to work with that company too, right? We are in a relationship-based industry. It's not about each job. It's not about each shoot. It's about building and maintaining that relationship. So it's like, even if the job doesn't materialize between us, just reach out. Like, get that paperwork started, get the dialogue started, because it's like, we're very approachable. I like to think I'm very approachable.
You are.
You are. That's one of the main reasons we love coming here, because you are so easy to work with. The whole team here is easy to work with.
Even when we break gear.
No, we've never broken
One time.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, a mat box.
Oh, we did. But we replaced
We didn't do it.
No, we didn't. We didn't personally do it.
One of our DPs.
It was on the team.
Mat boxes get broken. Like, it's going to happen.
Paid for it, the client paid for it.
Yeah. It was taken
accidents
care of.
happen.
Yeah, exactly.
Fell off a crane.
Renting gear here, prepping cameras here.
Yep.
The experience is superior to other places, we feel.
Yeah, we want to know, like, what is it you're doing now, but what is it you'd like to do? How can we help you start doing that? What are the things that you might need in your career, or opportunities, or ways that we can be of help to help you achieve the type of position or the type of work you want to do? Like, if we have a good relationship, we're more than happy to cut like a special like loan out deal for reels and stuff like that if need be, awesome. But it's, again, like, it's about that relationship. You don't just like call us and be like, I'm building my reel, give me free gear. It's one of those things.
Use the word please.
Yeah, hopefully.
It's very service oriented.
It really is.
Which is our business in a general sense. It is service oriented. So why wouldn't the rental house be the same way? It should be.
And a shoot's hard enough, right? Like,
yes,
everything going well, a shoot's going to be hard enough. Yes. So, like I said, I don't like being on set. Like, I get it. Like, so why would we make it more difficult for you? Like, what's the point? You're not going to want to come back. Like,
Exactly.
So where is the industry heading? Is there something new that's it's changed so much over the past 20 years? Actually, over the past 5 years, it seems like it's changed.
Yeah. It definitely has changed greatly in the last 5 years. I mean, in terms of like just looking at it in our microcosm of it with rentals specifically, we're wrestling with the fact that, and this is not a complaint or anything, but the fact that we're shifting from being a camera rental house to a lens and accessories rental house.
Okay.
Right? Everyone owns their gear. Like, post-COVID, loan money for business development was easy to get, right? Like, so you hire a DP, and that DP has a full kit, right?
Right.
ACs have batteries and Teradeks and they own follow focus and the monitors, you know? And then at a certain point, you're like, well, how are we supposed to make the money to provide all those services that we used to? The seminars on educating people on a new piece of gear, the fact that we can have our lenses serviced and have everything maintained at a certain level of excellence so we know it won't go down on set. How do we maintain the cost of having backups of what we have so we can help people? Just like hosting preps, right? Like I have to start charging for prep space if you're just bringing in a lot of other gear. It's just a challenge because it costs money to have someone be trained to be a lens tech. It costs a lot of money. Like sometimes you have to fly them to the manufacturers in the UK to get them trained. And then you have to pay them well because there's not a lot of those people in the market. So in order to keep this person you've invested so much in, that's a cost, right?
Sure.
And I mean, right now, there's one lens tech in Chicago. That's kind of how dire the situation is.
No way, really?
We went from at least 3 to 1.
Holy cow.
So things are always changing, right? We live in a capitalist world, so things are there's always going to be some ups and downs. And we look at it as if we're not providing the full package, what is it we're providing? What is it that's lacking in the city that needs to be provided for? And how do we do that then?
Sure.
Because that's, how you stay relevant. That's how you stay in the market.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So the lens tech is one work here, or is that person more of a freelance position?
No, that's going to be a hard employee. We don't have one. I'm training up my current service guy right now a bit more. He's just at a comfortable space shimming lenses. So with shimming lenses, what's the most important thing about a lens? Its ability to focus accurately, right?
We've heard that.
Yeah.
It's not an option, is it?
And so that's barely lens teching, right? That's if you work in a lens house, you should know how to do that, right? But it's also a kind of technical thing. It's you have to be very precise. It can be very difficult depending on the depth of focus a lens has. And so we have a process for that, and he's been picking it up, but it isn't a you put it on a machine, the machine gives you numbers, you do the thing, and it's perfect, right? It's trial and error. Sometimes it's about how the lens you have to kind of feel, and then you're oh, this is probably going to be this sort of thing, especially when you fuss with zooms. I'm not a big fan of shimming zooms. But I mean, it's after that, it's digging into a lens, doing lens repair, keeping them up, tuning lenses. The big thing nowadays is these lenses that can have multiple looks, but you have to have a lens tech open them up and adjust the lens and put them back together. And that's a
very
whole
special.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Thing.
And I think a lot of people don't even know that exists.
No, they don't have the
Unless
concept
you're a
of-
DP or an AC.
Yeah,
then you'd
yeah.
know that,
But exactly. I'm sorry not to.
No.
Did
What
you
was
have
your last question? You had another question.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk about some of the clientele that come in here and prep and rent from you. If
a good
people are at
idea.
home watching and they're thinking, well, maybe that's not the space for me, but I'm going to think that it is the space for them. They just may not know that.
Yeah. I mean, we do everything from students' films to.
But you've had full features and
We've done
television
features,
shows.
we've done TV,
Everything across the board.
we've done documentaries, we do commercials, we do music videos, passion projects.
I mean, you've had a lot of known. I know you have a lot of known films that came through here and rented. I know that for a fact.
We rented the lenses to some friends of ours who shot all the shadow puppetry for the Candyman movie, right?
Oh, really?
And
Wow.
That's cool.
What was really cool is then they were hired to do this installation piece, right? That's gonna be coming up, and it's super cool. But we did a bunch of testing and on lenses and stuff because the thing you don't think about in that environment, right, is that when you have stuff rear lit like that, you start to have this haloing kind of effect on the edges between your puppet and the background, right? And so you need something that's really sharp that has very minimal chromatic aberrations and stuff like that, because the big worry is this is going to be an installation piece that lives there for decades, and it's going to be the size of a wall. So what would normally be a tiny, not noticeable thing on your cell phone is now always going to be there and like
forever
visible. Like, yeah.
But you help with things like you help the client figure out those types of things, you know, to make what they're doing
Exactly.
right.
Yeah. What is the role of a rental house in pre-production? Because I know you guys are very involved in pre-production, which is it's
almost the most crucial
so
part. I mean,
crucial.
because that's so many shoots, they don't want to spend the time and the money to plan it out and do, you know, that's huge.
We run across that a lot.
Too often.
Yeah.
A lot of what we do in that phase is really around like the dollars and cents, to be honest. How much should it cost and how much could it cost? I guess is a better way to phrase it.
Yeah.
But also it's sort of like, well, you know, how many backups are really in town? Like if we want to do this sort of specialty thing with this kind of movement, like what are the options to make that possible? And so a lot of it will be like, we want it to look like this, but we don't want to spend that on it. And we also don't want to ship it in, right? Like, and so you're like, cool, well, have you tried filters? Like, because they exist. Like,
we get clients all the time. They send us an example of what they want it to look like, and then their budget is something else. It's like, well, that's great, but we're at a little bit of a disconnect.
Yeah.
Another thing that goes in hand with the testing, right, is that especially when we're working with features and stuff, we love to have the DP coming in here and testing lenses, testing filters, testing the cameras, testing the settings, testing their LUTs, because that's a big part of it. Like they have a vision, but maybe they don't know quite how to get there, or they're like, okay, I have like 6 visions for the look, but I need to show the director. So when like they can get on the same page for what one they actually want to use, because it's sort of like, you know, you have to pick your battles on where to invest in that production, you know.
Thank you so much for joining us, man. You were
really
awesome.
appreciate it.
Honestly, we love talking to you. We love being here.
Yeah.
No, it was a pleasure. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you. Oh, and Daufenbach, what's the website?
Daufenbachcamera.com. DAUFENBACH camera.com.
Thanks. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you on another Bada Bing podcast. The Bodacast.
Podcast.